Hello there. In this video, I'm going to have an exam review session with a past paper. The paper is IB Economics Paper 2 SL, Time Zone 2 from November 23 exam. Let's give it a go. All right, question number 1, it's about the country Poland. Question A1, define the term floating exchange rate indicated in bold in the text. Floating exchange rate is a regime where the currency price of a nation is set by the forex market based on supply and demand relative to other currencies. This is in contrast to a fixed exchange rate in which the government entirely or predominantly determines the rate. Question A2, define the term carbon taxes indicated in bold in the text. Carbon tax is a type of tax levied on the goods and services that are emitting carbon dioxide. They are intended to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by increasing prices of the fossil fuels that emit them when burned. Question B1, using information from text C, paragraph 2, calculate the percentage change in quantity demanded for public transport in Poland capital city if the ticket price is reduced from 4.4 zloty to 4 zloty. I know the PD, but I don't know the percentage change of quantity, but I do know the percentage change of price. So I know the quantity percentage of price, and then I do the multiplication, and then I got the quantity. D2, using information from table 1, calculate Poland's real central bank interest rate in 2020. Real interest rates are determined by nominal interest rate minus inflation rate. So I got the values from table 1, so nominal inflation rate. So technically, the real interest rate would be minus value. Question C. Using an ADS diagram, explain why conditions in Poland's labor market are causing inflationary pressures in the economy. According to the text, in the labor market in Poland, there was excess demand, in other words, shortages in the labor, which means it would have resulted in a wage increase and also raise in cost of production. So it must have shifted the SRAS curve to the left, causing stagflation. Question D, using an exchange rate diagram, explain the possible effect of different relative inflation rates in Poland and the EU in 2021 on the exchange rate of the zloty. According to the text, in 2021, the currency value of zloty must have depreciated due to the higher inflation rate of 7.4% compared to 4.9% of EU average. So it would have decreased the demand of exports in Poland, which should lead the decrease in foreign demand of the currency. Question E, using an ADS diagram, explain how the Polish central bank's monetary policy may affect the inflation rate. According to the text, we could find out the fact that the Polish central banks increased the interest rate, and such action would have affected the country's economy by decreasing the aggregate demand. Since the higher interest rate must have discouraged spending, borrowing for consumers, and the business investment from the firms, therefore the price level and the national output both decrease. Question F, using a demand and supply diagram, explain how a tax on cars in Poland provides tax revenue. This is the box that represents the tax revenue, and let me explain. Imposing tax on cars would affect both demand and supply of the cars. Consumers should pay higher prices, obviously, and producers get paid less, so they produce less, however, pay more cost, including tax to the government. So as illustrated on the diagram, the shaded area represents the government tax revenues that are collected from both consumers and producers of cars. Question G, using information from the text data and your knowledge of economics, discuss whether there is a conflict between economic growth and environmental sustainability. In intro, I can introduce the basic economic information about the country, Poland, and its concern of having a potential conflict between economic growth and environmental sustainability. In body 1, I should discuss the idea that there is a possible conflict between economic growth and environmental sustainability in Poland. First, I should point out the fact that the country achieved strong economic growth for the past year with the given reference. And then I should further prove that despite the material wealth that the country has achieved, the environmental sustainability has been rather degraded with the given reference. And then I can demonstrate how the country suffers with the social cost of unsustainable way of economic growth with the reference of this one. Lastly, I can argue that as observed from the income growth and following increase in demand of cars and less use of public transportation, there is certain trade-off between economic growth and sustainability. Next, I can discuss the fact that there is no necessary conflict between economic growth and environmental sustainability in Poland. First, I can analyze how the Polish government strives to enact new measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and other pollutants as proven from the references. And the government promotes sustainable alternatives additionally. Also, what is proven from the given text is that economic growth and environmental sustainability are not having an inverse relationship. It rather has a positive relationship. As the text says, there is expected shortage of skilled labor, which will disturb strong economic growth, and it may slow down the implementation of new greener technology education and training. This means that sluggish economic growth is worsening the environmentally sustainable policy implementation rather than having a trade-off of the two. Also, the last reference further proves the point that I just mentioned above. Question 2 is about Senegal and its natural resources. Question A1. Define the term common pool resources indicated in bold in the text. Common pool resource is a type of good consisting of a natural or human-made resource system whose size or characteristics makes it costly, but not impossible to exclude potential beneficiaries from obtaining benefits from its use. Question A2. Define the term multidimensional poverty index indicated in bold in the text. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index is an international measure of acute multidimensional poverty covering over 100 developing countries. It complements traditional monetary poverty measures by capturing the acute deprivations in health, education, and living standards that a person faces simultaneously. Question B1. Using information from Table 3, calculate Senegal's real GDP. I know GDP, I know nominal GDP, and I know the price deflator, so pretty simple. B2. Using information from Table 5, calculate Senegal's current account balance in 2018. 2018, balance of payments, export plus, import minus, income recipient inflows plus, outflows minus, current transfers plus. So here is the value. Next, using information from Table 5, identify whether Senegal's balance of trade in goods and services is a surplus or a deficit. Super obvious, minus, in other words, deficits. Question C, using a production possibilities curve diagram, explain how the discovery of oil affected production possibilities in Senegal. As you can see from the diagram, discovery of oil allowed exports in the country to be increased. Consumers and producer goods production capabilities in the country increased as the PPC curve shifted to the outward. Question D. Using an exchange rate diagram, explain how the change in the balance of trade in goods between 10 and 20 may have changed the exchange rate of the West African franc. As we have calculated from the question above, the trade deficit is getting wider. So I can say that the widening trade deficit implies higher imports, leading to more sales of the franc itself, which is increasing supply of the franc. So it's going to make the currency depreciated. Question E. Using an international trade diagram, explain the likely effect on domestic producer surplus in Senegal due to the tariff given on rice imports. Tariffs imposed on rice made the imported price of rice being more expensive, and imported quantities are also less available. As a result, domestic producers can occupy more sales by increasing their quantity from QS to QS2. At the same time, they get paid a higher price at PW plus tariff, so their surplus is increasing. This is the change as illustrated in the shaded area. Question F. Using an externalities diagram, explain why the use of water by rice farmers may result in market failure in the rice market in Senegal. As the text says, there is farmers' unsustainable use of water for their irrigation, which is a type of market failure. Since they overuse the resource, which create other social costs, like fisheries find it difficult to supply water, or there can be potential depletion of water supply for other villages who need water. So as the diagram illustrates, the farmers' free market level of water use is bigger. It is being overused compared to the socially adjustable, socially optimal level. So it is creating welfare lows within the society. Question G. Using information from the text data and your knowledge of economics, evaluate policies that could be used to reduce inequality in Senegal. First, I should introduce the basic economic information of the country, Senegal, using some quantitative data from the text. First demand-side policy to evaluate is increasing transfer payment to domestic farmers. And you can check the logic behind evaluating this policy by referring to the text and data. First demand-side policy to evaluate is increasing transfer payment to domestic farmers. And you can check the logic behind evaluating this policy by referring to the text and data, and following is the pros and cons of the policy. Second demand-side policy to evaluate is restructuring tax system. And just like the policy above, you can check the details of the policy, refer to the text and data. Last type of demand-side policy is to increase government expenditure on decreasing hidden costs of education. And you can find pro and con. My next discussion is on the evaluation of supply-side policies' effectiveness on reducing inequality in Senegal. The first type of supply-side policy is to diversifying industries. You can check the logic behind evaluating this policy by referring to the text and data and the same content, pros and cons of the policy. Second type of supply-side measure to evaluate is policies that regulate and monitor sustainable management of common pool resources. And the same content can be found. Last is about the policies that promote female education, such as establishing female colleges or job training center, and the following pros and cons of the policy. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.